Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, the IYT, the USO, the UUP, and the GLD. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly timeframes. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. Go to our website, sign up for a free membership for more videos like this, email alerts to our live streaming session, education, and a little bit of fun, guys. So go sign up, it's free. All right, we're going to look at the daily SPY, and today, you know what? No volume. 61 million after hours. I think when we closed, we had about 51 million, right in that range. Oh man, here we are again, guys, just floating up. So if you are bullish, you need to get it back above the 20 MA, get it back above this inside bar, fill the gap, get above this trend line, then the 240, 240, 32 area, then possibly we should up to 242, 242.50. Then the next area, guys, if it really gets going, 252.44, right in that area. Even 250 is a good round number, a quarter number, if you want to call it that. So, and if you're bearish, you need to get back below this trend line. That's key. That's key right here. Not that it's, that if it's a trend line breakdown, we'll see, but, it came right back below, almost filled this gap, 50% retrace, and boom, right back up on light volume. So you have to keep an eye on that. Again, bullish case, need to get above the 240.32 and keep going, and I want to see more volume, not just floating up through the MAs or the gap it up, do their, little routine, then maybe up. But watch for volume. Volume is key right now. No volume, we could possibly just chop around like we've been doing for the last couple weeks. We did have a nice little pullback, but that's about it in these markets. But when we hit this trend line up here, that's going to be the line in the sand. That's a big one. So we hit it twice. We almost got through, came back, hit it, came back. Do we make one more run and try to get through? And if it does it come right back down? That's what we're looking for right now. So, but again, nothing wrong with the SPY. Still above the 50 MA and the 200 MA, so nothing wrong until we get more volume. And maybe a little bit of news, because it seems like it's being a little bit news driven lately. Besides, again, let's just wait for pattern, see what happens. IWM. IWM, same thing. It's all the same pattern, guys. It pulls back, goes into support, chops around, double bottom again, boom, right back up. We're coming into resistance. Same play as the SPY. If we get above these moving averages, trend line, and the big breakdown bar area, right around 138.60, then boom, we're going right back to 140, 141 area. The all-time high was 140.60 or 86. Let's see if we can make a run. We have a little trend line there, upper trend line, this one. So that's the bullish case. Gets above there, maybe 145, maybe even 150 for all I know. So again, this one's lagging a little bit, so you got to keep an eye on it. If you're a bearish, a little more bearish on this chart, then inside bar, bearish pattern here, or if you're playing it to the downside, this is setting up pretty good for a little more downside again. See if we get above the MAs. But downward target, you have a gap to fill down here. You have the 200 MA right there, so you have a little bit more support, and then you have a gap fill. So that's a pretty good area, but we'll see how this thing reacts or comes into it. If it does go through, it could pierce like everything else. We do have a gap fill right around 122.52. But again, one day at a time, guys, still holding support. But I like the retrace in the big red bar. I like that type of pattern. Let's see if we could get above these areas, or if this thing just turns around and starts coming in. That's key to the IWM. Volume 2, no volume. It just kind of just drying up. So that tells me markets are getting a little bit quiet. Let's look at the Qs. Qs had a nice retrace, same pattern. Okay, so we're looking at this pattern on the Qs, pretty much the same thing. You have an inside bar going up to the all-time high, 132.43. Again, if it's bullish, it needs to get it back above this inside bar and then shoot for the stars, basically 135, 134 area. But, again, it needs to get above there. We are going up on light volume. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now, is this light volume float action. So we're going to see what happens in the next couple of days. Thursday and Friday will tell us a big story here. I want to see the weekly closes on all these indexes, guys. That's what I'm playing at this point. That's very important for me, because these light volume markets, a little bit tougher to do the daily, routine and the ups and downs and stuff. I want to see the weekly closes, and where if it closes above or below this big red bar or all-time highs, and we'll take it from there. So weekly close Friday will be an important video, so make sure you watch that on those updates. The DIA. Same thing, right back up, comes right back in, holds support at the 50 MA. This trend line's pretty big too, guys. If that trend line breaks, we'll probably be going down to some gap fills down in this area, and then ultimately double bottom, nice pivots down here too. That cracks going to 190.77. So again, nothing wrong with these above the 50, above the 200, chopping around inside bars. So let's see if we can retrace back up. Bullish case, you gotta get back these back above these inside bars, get it to the all-time high at 211.59, and then bust out. If it does bust out 215, maybe 220, you also have this trend line down here, guys. So if this trend line's in play, let's move this one over. Let's get this one above price. So yeah, so you know, you get going that price 215, 216, and then if it breaks through there, 220 possibly, and that's just another breakout. That'll be a good breakout. So we'll have to see how that works. Again, one step at a time. You know, I'm just saying that's the bullish case. Bearish case, if this thing starts to go sideways still, it's setting up in lower prices for me. Right now, a little too early to watch for pattern, but again, nice dip. Buy the dip, get the bounce. Let's see what pattern this develops, or does it go straight back down? Does it get up, you know, go up and get above these pivots here and all-time highs, and then go from there. So keep an eye on either way. For me, I don't care. If it goes up, I'll put more short on. If it goes down, I'll be watching for a bounce area. Long or short, really don't care. IYT, a little bit weaker on this one. You know, this one came in pretty good, went down, almost tapped this 5-0 retrace, but we did fill the gap down in here. Boom, right back up, almost to this trend line. Yep, you know, what was support now is resistance coming back up. You have this little pivot, you do have the gap fill up in there, and right now, nice 2-day bounce with a 1-day pause. Let's see if we go. If you're bullish in this one, if you're in a long position, then you got to get it back above the trend line, this inside bar, and get back above the MAs. That's the first step, and possibly come up and hit this pivot at 167.92. If it makes it past that, then you're going for the all-time high, which is 173.88. If it cracks through there, 175 easily, then possibly 180 if the markets are going. If this thing just turns around and comes right back in, then beware. You know, we got to get back above here if you're more on the bullish side. If it stays down here and chops around, then look for some downside easily to 152, gap fill around 151. But if it really starts going, you're looking at gap fill 145 and then double bottom around 141.71. So again, still in the early stages. Let's see what it gives us. Volume, not the best. Not bad for this one today. It actually had a little more volume than yesterday, which is pretty surprising, but let's open that up. Yeah, so it was light going up, and then all of a sudden a little bit more volume came in here, and it just kind of stalled. So keep an eye on that one. Let's get into the USO. This one was just great. That some pipelines down. Oh, they had inventory now. I don't even know what it was, but boom, straight back up. They want to do anything to get this oil price up, but in Janet Yellen's little experiment here, it's not part of the plan. Higher oil prices, so they got to keep this thing down. But you know what? They got to give a dead cat bounce here. It was a little bit beaten down off this pattern. We talked about this, getting short, get short, get short, get short. As long as it's above here, it's okay. Gets back below, then you possibly might get lower prices. Came down, a little bit of a retrace, and then boom, came right in. But we talked about the gaps. You had a gap here, you had a gap window, then ultimately you had the gap filled down here. I don't know if it filled it maybe by a penny, and if not, it missed it a little bit, but it came damn close. And boom, bounced, retraced down, double bottom, and bam, straight up. So let's see if we can get past through this or get through this resistance here at the 200 MA or 1046. And if it makes it through that, gets above the moving average, and then the 382 retrace, you have a gap, and then you have another big gap here. If it gets up here again, though, if it could get through all this area of resistance and get back into these moving average and possibly fill this gap fill up here, that would be a pretty good area for a short again. If it does get back in that area and the markets still look weak, I will be adding to the position. I have a quarter position of this, and I have a quarter position of the SCO. Sold most of it already for a nice profit, but I'm just kind of waiting for that last quarter. I'm being really patient to see if I can run these out a little bit more, or at least that's what I'm trying to do. UUP, it was up about 5 cents today. Again, we came back down, we filled the gap, caught a little bottom at the 25.50 quarter number. Boom, goes right back up. I thought for sure we'd go into the 200 MA and possibly a little bit lower. Never happened. Now it's taken off, but again, could go right back up and retrace. right now it's other than a little retrace back up and possibly filling the gap. You know, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait for pattern. I mean, we kind of pulled back, launched, pulled back. Is this the next, launch up? Give you a little W pattern here, possibly. Again, a lot to work through before it starts moving higher. So until pattern develops, I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, we did close right. There was a cap right here. Wow, so that's what it hit and came right back in. So let's see if we get back to this high and possibly this gap fill. Even this is great resistance here, especially if it's stretched a little more and hit this yellow line at 26.12 and then pulled back. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, again, too early. Nice 3-day bounce. That's all it's really given us. Let the charts tell us what to do, guys. Okay, gold. Gold again, right back into this big resistance area, the 200 MA. You have a down sloping trend line. It did get above and then it came back in and now it's above it again. So let's keep an eye on that. Again, though, it's 750 retrace trend line. If you go to the weekly, you got a little bit more of the story on that one. Got the 200 and the 50 MA. Did get back above the 200, but you want to get a retrace down and then boom, a rocket ship up. It still can't just blast through there. Sometimes yes, but let's see if we consolidate for the next week or two, maybe 3, maybe even go 10 weeks sideways and then the next leg up. But let's keep an eye on this back in the double top, big resistance. Let's wait for pattern to see if this thing could possibly go up or down. Now Jnug, I'm going to go through this one today. I got some more emails on this. But again, it was up 20 cents today. Nothing crazy. This thing has a mind of its own. So for me to follow it, it's a little bit tough, and I do explain that. But the one thing I've been saying is a little bit bullish. As long as it's going around here, we got back above the 20 MA, so not bad. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days sideways consolidating. Still in a bearish pattern down here, but this pattern up and sideways, slightly bullish. Still need to get back above the MAs here, but at this point, not bad. Again, if you start breaking down and getting below these areas, this was a big pivot right here, or a big trend line on the low pivot back in the 523 area. So if you get, if it comes back here, let's see if it holds. If it doesn't, you're going back down in this area here. If gold starts giving it up or just sitting there slowly bleeding, this one can bleed. I don't know if I think Jnug decays too as well, or I just can't. Markets like right now, the gold was up a little bit, the GLD, and this was up with it. Then one day the gold will be up 50 cents and this will be down 50 cents. So there's really no rhyme or reason other than if the gold really spikes up, then this could be getting some juice and going. That's when you know you're going to get a big move up on the Jnug. So. All right, guys, it's been a long day. We did a live session today. It was pretty fun. We went through a lot of different stocks, posted a couple new trades on the position list on the StockBookie.com site. You got to be a member, guys, to get to that section, but it's free. So what difference does it make? Anyone can see it, but just remember, go to the site, watch the videos. I'm showing this is all technical stuff, guys. When we're doing a live session, let me know if you're long or short in positions too. We could take a look at stuff because, there's a lot of people out there just kind of taking stabs at stuff. You just buy the dip. It's been working for a long time. But guys, one day that buy the dip, it's not going to work. And you don't want to be loaded the house. That's one thing we teach here at StockBookie.com, strict money management. We're in a couple positions here with our swing trades, and we had to add a couple times on them. And you know what, guys? If you start with a $10,000, say, bankroll, that's your max position out of a $100,000 account, say 10%, start with $2,500, dollars. Then put another $2,500. Then put another $2,500. Or you could put $5,000 in, and then average it out. Go 1,000, 1,000. So you got a couple more times to add. I like to do the 2,500, 2,500, 2,500, 2,500. Quarter positions and move it up that way because then they're all equally and it all balances out pretty well. But there's still different ways to do it. You could do 5,000, then go 2,500, 2,500. But just keep it consistent, guys. Small positions in these markets. Puts are tough, and there'll be time for puts and calls, and we'll be looking for bounce areas when this thing, or if this thing pulls back in the overall market. So, all right, guys, thanks again for watching my videos. God bless. See you on the charts.